else?
You know, so we've talked a lot about responsible search marketing from the SEO standpoint, and you know, it was interesting how you started with that you felt a responsibility to the, not just Google, but the world of search engines to help them become better. I read an interesting article a few weeks ago from a guy, it was in eWeek or Information Week, and he was saying that the next change in search is going to be a bad change, because what's happening is now search, especially mobile search, has become giant companies that collect and collate information about searchers. And so now the next item of the most valuable IT item in America, in the world, in the next few years will become a searcher's profile. And that they will be selling and trading at extreme amounts of money our profiles that we've given them for free based on how we search. And so, you know, that calls into like a huge area of their responsibility.
I think that's a big thing with Google. That's why they want to keep giving you all these free tools, because that information is just so valuable. And not just for their own search results, but who knows what they, you know, if they sell that data or what they do with it. It's anonymized or anonymous, but definitely big business. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about Google Analytics, but how many of you use Chrome? That's Google's search engine. Do you think that they know every site that you visit? You know, how many use the Google toolbar that has the page rank little meter on it, right? We're all addicted to
You
that
just need to be
stuff.
logged into your Google account.
Pardon?
You just need to be logged into your Google account.
Well,
You don't
or
need
you're
the
logged
browser.
into your Google account.
Well,
Yeah.
beyond that, when you carry your cell phone, they know where you are.
Yeah.
They know what business you're here. They would know what business you go in. They know what business you search for.
You
They know
use
what you buy
Foursquare.
with your credit card. And these companies take all these little disparate pieces of information and build a profile.
Oh yeah, and they know everything. And I know that's a whole other area, but they know, you know, if you that's privacy concerns and all that. If you I think you kind of have to not care anymore, because you do. It's pretty good. Yeah.
I think, you know, this has always become, like, you know, 20, 30 years of marketing. I remember, you know, before the internet even came about, yeah, I'm getting away my age. We had something called clustering analysis with zip codes. And everybody thought that that was going to be Orwellian and that we were going to invade everybody's privacy and companies were going to trade in that and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I mean, American Express does have a big list house. We have all that kind of stuff going on, but I don't know. I just, you know, how this stuff actually boils out in the end and how it actually gets used is a whole other matter, because
Yeah.
you can look at the influx of different marketing technologies and marketing applications over the last 60, 70 years, and you could say, we were all afraid of this, but it kind of never worked out that way.
Well,
We were
and
all
it's-
afraid of this.
It
kinda
can
never
be
worked out.
better, and that's what Google,
Yeah.
that their, personalized search is supposed to be that they'll give you the results you want, instead of showing you, when you search Mustang, if you want to see horses, not the car, they know that and they'll show you that. I mean, that can be a good thing, that is a good thing, but it's also why we can't look at ranking reports, because everyone's going to see something different. So as an SEO, it just makes it confusing. But they're not trying to be evil in getting all this information, as long as it doesn't get into the wrong hands, I guess, is the key. But that is a whole other issue, really. Yeah.
You just mentioned ranking reports, and we're having a dilemma when we're feeling that we're not giving the right ranking reports
You shouldn't be giving ranking reports at all.
at all.
They're not going to be necessarily accurate at all, because everybody sees different results. You should be analyzing the analytics. You can spot check rankings to make sure that you're there somewhere. But it's different. Like when I first did the search for search engine optimization to see how many companies were doing submissions. I saw high rankings was like number 5. I'm like, wow, I didn't think we were like on the first page for a while now. And then I was logged into my, you can't see it there, but logged into my Gmail, so I unlogged in, and suddenly my site was, 2 pages later.
Which one to see, right?
Yeah, but it's different for everybody. Even if you're not logged in, but you've got cookies set, you don't know what a real ranking is anymore. So you're fooling yourself and you're fooling your clients by giving them ranking reports, because it's not going to be the same thing. And it hasn't been for like 8 years.
So like SEO folks, rank checker, locals.
Yeah, because whose ranks are they checking? It's whose results. They're not like the real results. Your client might see something else. You can see it in your analytics. Like you think, if you have a new client, you just optimize their site and you keep looking, you do some spot checks. Are they showing up? They're not showing up. They're not showing up. But you look in their analytics and somehow they're getting traffic for these phrases. It's like, well, every time I check, they're not showing up. But they're showing up for somebody who is more interested in that topic than you are. So, maybe they're in the right location, maybe they're whatever. That's by using those analytics. Look at the traffic you're getting for those keywords you optimize for. It's better. You don't have to worry about whether you're ranking or not. You say, look, you've got this many people came for this keyword, and not only that, but 5 of them converted and filled out your form or whatever it might be. Those are real numbers that mean something. Rankings, they may or may not mean something. They sometimes do. If you are consistently at the top, obviously you're going to get traffic. But you might not. Maybe it's a keyword phrase nobody searches for, but the CEO just likes it.
If you're going to Google Webmaster Tools, they now give you a list of keywords, and they'll tell you how you're ranking.
Yeah, and that at least they're telling you how you ranked when someone clicked, and they also tell you average rankings, where impressions from your site. So that's at least valuable. That's real numbers that you actually did rank there. I also have a tool that Randy from our forum, High Rankings Forum, created. What does he call it? The Google Rank Extractor or something like that. Google does so that they can use that for Webmaster Tools. Some URLs actually have a tracking code that says what position your site was at when someone clicked on it, and his Rank Extractor tool will tell you that. So I can run reports on my site and see exactly live, where I was ranking when someone clicked. So meta descriptions is like the #1 keyword phrase for my site. I have an article on that, and I get hundreds a day that come in, and I always see if it's #1 or #2, #1 or #2, but I see that's real ranking. People clicked on that, that's where they saw it from. When you use a tool like that, at least it tells you real accurate stuff. Yeah.
It does help you convince the customer that you're not always in one position. Okay, Google showed me you're in 10 different positions last month, just for this one keyword, and it shows you.
Yeah, and you do see though, obviously when you're in the top positions, you get more clicks, so there's certainly a correlation, and I'm not going to tell anyone that, you don't want to be #1.
Well, and the other thing you'll see very often, because they show you the impressions and the click-throughs too, is that, it doesn't necessarily mean from position 2, people are going to click through. There's more to it than just being in the top position. There's the listing and relevancy to
Right, what does your listing look like? And that's something else you can use. You see, well, look, I didn't know I was always #1 or 2. Let's look at what my listing looks like for that keyword phrase. And, you might want to adjust your meta description or other content on the page to make that listing look more enticing to click on if you're not getting good click-throughs. But, that's kind of stuff you could spend forever on. That's when you've done everything else and you want to try to get up even better. It's almost 9, I think, here.
2 minutes.
One more question, anybody else, or comment? Yeah.
Jill, I was, just 2 things on this. With Google Analytics, there's such a big disparity between analytics and server log stats that I see. And they don't correlate, and they should. And that's kind of shocking. And kind of what are your thoughts on that? And the other thought was, I've taken over a couple of PPC accounts where the client has actually given Google the account and said, okay, Google, take over my hen house, and Google walks in as the fox. And I have gone in and said, oh my God, no negative keywords, no, and they're just spending money like crazy. And a lot of clients buy into that. Google's helping us. And I'm sure you've seen that as well.
Yeah.
But the disparity between really good server log stats and analytics, is it?
I think you're probably going to get your most data from the server logs if you can stand to go through it. If the site's not so huge that you can actually look at it, or if you have the right tools. But, you know, I don't think, you can't compare between a JavaScript type of, or I think it's JavaScript, you know, like Google Analytics and server logs. The numbers are just not going to correlate. I don't know. I mean, sometimes it could be that it's spiders and things that the logs are counting, that you're not going to get, you know, Google filters out spiders and bots and everything else. But, you know, I don't think, I wouldn't try to compare, just, you know, use one and stick with that. If you need to look at server logs for some reason, then look at them, but you're always going to get a different thing. Because sometimes the code doesn't load, people might have it at the bottom of the page, the Google code might not load, or it might be slow that day, and you're not going to catch everything. I would imagine your server logs are showing more traffic than, yeah, I haven't looked at logs in so long.
Phrases and so forth. And when are we going to have to start, as search marketers, really pay attention to Bing, Google, Caffeine, the secondary engines, or not Caffeine, but Bing, Yahoo, and, you know, and how, I mean, at what point, we're all building and we're all striving for Google, you know, Google. And then you look at your same listings where you're number one in Google, but you can't get a good ranking in Bing.
It's because you're not spammy enough. That's my feeling with Bing, and when it was MSM before, I don't think it's really changed. You know, you have to make, it seems like they showed like the bad sites or the spammier sites. So what are you going to do, make your sites worse so that they'll rank in Bing for that, you know, 2% of traffic they might bring? I think let's wait for them to catch up and show the best sites. You know, even with Google, that's my ideal, that they should be showing the best sites. They don't always, but you can't go wrong by making your site be the best it can be, because eventually the search engines will all be really great, and then you'll find all the spammers.
They'll catch up with you.
Yes.
And Caffeine, any thoughts on what's going to be happening with that?
Caffeine is nothing. It's just so that they get more real-time results being shown. It's not anything you have to do anything for. It's just so that they can show things faster. And you know, I think if you have a lot of news-related content, it's good because they're showing that faster. But there's nothing to really optimize for.
Blogging, video, all of that.
I mean, the usual stuff for that universal search in general was good for. And as to the paid search and having clients go and have Google do it, that's obviously just silly.
They do it.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it seems like it should be easy to convince them, like you said, the fox guarding the hen house, but hey, if they want to, well, just charge them to fix it, you know. And on that note, I think we are all set. Thank you guys for coming.